This video began as a series I'm going to do known as Cover v Cover, essentially a series looking at covers of songs either between bands or bands redoing their old material. And for this particular edition, I was going to start off with Vertigo Motel by Dog Fashion Disco. It's one of the best songs from the band. A fun and dark song filled with macabre lyrics, and it has this gothic and haunted house style that I wanted to gush over. And because I found the remake a little too serious,
swinging from a tree.
I wanted to talk about their new music and figure out why I wasn't really getting it as much. I'll be honest, I went into it a bit too negative, both because I only recently discovered some of their older material, but also because this year sucks and I got tired of being nice. After being a smartass, I learned why they were remaking their old music, and I felt like a gigantic asshole. In my lightest defense, I don't tend to look up the intention of why artists make anything. I just listen to music and make up my own conclusion and hope that it wasn't made by my future assassin. I assumed the choice to clean up the production on weight was not a choice just made to follow fair use regulations. Dog Fashion Disco are a heavy metal, alternative metal, jazz punk, avant-garde metal band that were decently well known within the underground. And honestly, they're also kind of fucking obscure. Despite being one of the first underground acts I ever discovered, and possibly the first non-famous heavy metal band I discovered, I could only find glimpses into their existence. This was years ago, possibly right as they united. They started out in the late 90s and released all the way until the late 2000s before breaking up and then reuniting again in 2015. They were a part of many scattered albums from many small labels, and in the streaming age, none of that old music is on streaming services. The original Erotic Massage, Committed to a Bright Future, or Anarchist of Good Tastes are officially released. You can find those albums with different covers, different versions, and in different tracks. You can find the original rips for fans, and I recommend you do that because that's the only way. And even then, it would probably be better for the band, not conglomerate labels. For annoying label reasons, none of their original masters are theirs. They are recording them in order to claim back their copyrights. Which sounds great, but you might think, why are they all over the place? Why are they different? Taylor Swift is currently remaking her music right now to reclaim her masters, and why are Dog Fashion Disco making any changes? The frustrating answer to that is, well, Taylor Swift is a billionaire superstar celebrity. She has tens of billions of dollars. Dog Fashion Disco has $10. I heard about the annoying feud between her and Braun. That means she doesn't have to justify why she's rehashing old material and clogging up the charts with her re-releases, because somebody will inevitably be like, are you anti-artist, anti-creativity? No, I just think that in an age of rehashes and remakes, I find the timing very interesting. Dog Fashion Disco are not anywhere near large enough or public enough to have that automatic context. Because of that, I didn't take into account that they have the same story. And also, even if they did want to just remaster that old music, they cannot because of dubious bullshit legal reasons. If Skeeter Spider wanted to sue Swift for remaking her old music, he could. She would pay it out. She would probably settle instantly, and he knows this. The label that owns the music probably just going to wave it around to cash it out for as long as they can. If Dog Fashion Disco wanted to do that, they would have to pay several labels for the rights. And not only that, if they just went and re-recorded these songs down to a T, they would be sued for copyright infringement. They would not have the money to counter or fight that lawsuit, and with how many albums are under these labels, it's a process not worth the fight at all. As depressing as it is, they are making these changes for creative reasons, of course, but also they may be making these decisions in order to comply with the law. And granted, allegedly, I'm not going to pin down that this is the exact reason the band is doing it. I am not them. There are a lot of frustrating things about the music industry, but the main one is the difference between the privileges of the mainstream and the lack thereof in the underground. In the mainstream, an artist is known for their work, but mainly for their brand. You know about their drama, you know about their successes, their failures, and their music. In the underground, you only really know an artist for their music. I have seen a lot of dog fashion disco fans talk about their new music. So I wanted to step in here and say that I technically haven't seen dog fashion disco fans talking about the incident, but I also really haven't read those comments in years, so let me just clarify that. It never gets the same kind of hostility as Roger Waters gets for remaking Pink Floyd, but it does get a lot of I don't like it and I prefer the old stuff. And I can bet the band are sick of that reaction, but I'm also guessing it's not a wrong reaction to have. I listen to some of the new and old music from time to time. I do prefer most of the older stuff for the heaviness, but when the newer music is remaking softer tunes like Wait and Still Looking, it works.
She came from the wrong side of town. She nearly lost herself along the way. So full of anger. She found the comfort in the friendly voice. I still wait, said give love a chance. The morning when you wake up, somewhere else. And the friendly voice, I said wait, don't give yourself away. In the morning when you wake up, it's a brand new day. Oh, I said wait, darling, now love will return. I said wait, darling, now love will return.
Hey, you want to hear my brother play the guitar? Because if you listen closely, you can fucking hear it. I think both versions of Mushroom Cult and Vertigo Motel are alright, though I do like the heavier versions of both. That said, both versions of Corpse is a Corpse is still great. To be fair, there may be more creative ventures here. Looking at the reorganized tracks, remasters, and the album covers, I think there's a lot more than just playing copyright dodging. They're also releasing new music like cult classic and Sweet Nothings. Are they good? I only learned about them this week, and also they only posted online fairly recently. I'm not made of money and I don't live near record stores. Judging from the changes they make, I think the band wants to make their music maybe more approachable. This isn't technically a good or bad thing, but I mean in the sense they're played more straight. Main difference between Vertigo Motel Old and New is the tones. Again, I think the newer version of Wait is superior. That doesn't mean either version is a waste, but I think the humor and fun is a little bit lost. It could be because the band is jaded and older, sure, but also because they wanted to try and spin it as a more serious song. I just knew the fun version first, which might be why I liked Wait, because I heard the newer version first. The downside is that underground artists usually have to work much harder because their fans are there for the music more than the person. However, I also need to remind myself that the artist has a story I probably just not seen. I have a bad habit of only listening to artists purely by their music, but that doesn't always work when there's a story I'm blatantly and accidentally missing. To conclude, the entire skeleton of record labels hoarding artist music in the vault is obnoxious and frustrating. The legal system is way too much on their side, copyright is a vicious law only beneficial to scumbags and hacks, and it's good to see dog fashion disco still going. And kinda surreal too. And one more point, underground bands deserve a voice as much as massive bands.